Hi, everyone. I wanted to go over the reading strategies with you for our first essay. What we're going to be doing for essay 1 is for each of our 7 readings, you're going to complete a different reading strategy. In other words, a different note-taking method. And the purpose of doing this is to teach you different types of note-taking strategies. So that way, no matter what type of class you're taking throughout your college career, you have several different note-taking tools at your disposal. So at the end of this unit, what I always tell students is, and at the end of this class is, keep the note-taking strategies that work for you, okay? And that's something to really think about as you're doing these different reading strategies, is which reading strategies do you like? Which ones do you think are most helpful? Which ones do you think work best with your learning style? All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about these. So the first thing to know is that you need to read the instructions completely before you get started with the reading and the reading strategy. And that's because in some of the reading strategies, I have you responding to questions before you actually start reading. So some readings will have before you read, during reading, after reading questions, and some of them don't. So please make sure you read the directions for each of the reading strategies before you start doing the work, okay? So let's go ahead and move over to our page. Okay, so the first reading strategy that we're going to be covering here is the significance of grit, and the strategy we're going to be looking at is making predictions, okay? So you'll see each of the reading strategies, and basically every assignment that you have in my course, it's set up this way. You'll get the title of the assignment, the due date, the purpose. I explained to you why we're doing this type of assignment and how it's making you a better reader, writer, critical thinker. I always give you directions, and I list out exactly what I want you to do. I'll also make sure you have the reading embedded there on the page, or a link to the reading. And I always explain how you're going to be graded for these assignments. Now, for some of these reading strategies, I was able to find some bonus material, like TED Talks the authors gave and so on. Note that the bonus material is optional. You don't have to watch it or read through it if you don't want to. My concern is that you're reading the text and doing the reading strategies. But I do recommend checking out some of these bonus videos, especially this one on grit. She does a really great job of summarizing the article in about 6 minutes. So I would say read the article and watch this one. Okay, so what do we do when it's time for you to answer these questions and submit them? Okay, so here's what you do. So when you're ready to submit your questions, you're going to click up here to submit assignment. Now, there's a couple different ways to do this. The way that I recommend doing your assignments is not by clicking submit and typing your answers here. Okay, and there's a reason why I'm saying you probably shouldn't do this. If for some reason your browser crashes, you lose all your work. What I always recommend that students do is answer all their questions, do their assignment on either a Google Doc or on a Word document, and then either copy and paste that into the text entry, or with Canvas, you can upload the file. If it's a Word document, or if it's a link to your Google Doc, you click on there and just paste your link. Please make sure you're sharing the document with me, okay? I can't open documents unless, a Google document, unless you've changed the permissions, all right? So let's take a look at what that looks like. So let's say we're going to do the text entry. Okay, and this looks just like any document, and you can format it in MLA and everything too. So we'd want to put our name here, right? And this is MLA formatting. And then we put the date. And it's in that style, day, month, year. And then, we can put here our title, Reading Strategy number 1. And then this is where you answer those questions. And I'll just do this as a sample for you guys. And then once you're ready to submit that work, okay, you hit submit. And you're also able to put any comments to me here about the assignment too, if you had any other questions or comments, or if there was a problem with the file or whatever it is, you can always attach a comment here to me that explains something. Okay, so once you're ready to submit, whether it's a file upload or a text entry or the URL to your Google Doc, make sure you click Submit Assignment and let it do its thing. Don't do anything. And you should see right here, you should get the green box up at the top that says Assignment Successfully Submitted. And you should be able to see right here this timestamp that tells you it was submitted, date and time. And if you need to resubmit anything, you are able to do that. Okay, so let's say you realize you forgot to do one of the questions. You can always just click on Resubmit Assignment and you can totally resubmit the assignment. Okay, so that's the first one here, and that's how you do this reading strategy. So what I wanted to do is take you through to a couple of others, especially for this first week. So our second reading strategy is reading with a purpose, right? And I explain what that means here in the purpose section. And I have the same type of setup right here. Some before reading questions. Here's the reading. You're going to click on that to open the habits of mind reading. And then I have the after you read questions, the grading, and then here is a little bonus. It's just a graphic that shows the 8 habits of mind. Okay. Oh, and I also forgot to mention this in that first one. At the bottom of every page, that's an assignment typically, I have these helpful links. And these links will take you to the student guides on Canvas and show you how to do these things. So if you don't know how to submit an online assignment, you can just go ahead and click on this link here, and it'll direct you to the Canvas student guide that'll walk you through how to submit anything. So in case I'm going a little too fast, you can always click on these guides and they'll give you kind of a step-by-step with pictures walkthrough of how to do these things. Also, just so you know, you are able to contact Canvas support and they can walk you through anything that you need to do on Canvas as well. Okay. They did have some pretty long wait times during the fall, and I think it was because everybody, was first going online and it was kind of hectic. So keep that in mind that you might not be able to get an immediate chat with somebody. You might have to wait for a while, but that option is open to you. They have 24-hour chat available to help you with any of the tech issues you're experiencing with Canvas. And they can even just straight walk you through an assignment and show you exactly where to point and click and how to upload your documents or do whatever it is I'm asking you to do. So don't forget about that. Okay, you have the guides, you have the Canvas chat support, and you also have me. So if you have any questions or if you're having any problems with Canvas, go ahead and shoot me an email and we can try to work it out. All right, so let's get back into this. So this is reading strategy number 2, and you would do the same thing that you did for the first reading strategy, right? When you're ready to submit the reading strategy, okay, which is answering these questions here, and reading with the purpose, all right? Then you're ready to submit the assignment. And again, you go up to the top, click on Submit Assignment. And like I said, you can do a file upload, you can do a text entry, or you can do the website URL to be able to link in a Google Doc, just like I explained in the last reading strategy. Okay. So let me take you into one of our other strategies. So these ones are going to stay right here in Canvas. We're just using the Canvas system to be able to submit those strategies. All right, yeah, we're going to leave. But I do have a couple strategies that are using another platform. It takes us out of Canvas and we're going to go into a program called Perusal. And Perusal allows you to take notes. It allows the whole class to take notes on a reading, and then I can see all your notes and highlights. So let's go over to that. And you can see here, you just click through next and it'll take you to the next page in the module. And once we get past this, you'll see we're on to our next reading strategy. So here is our reading strategy number 4, and it's for Drive Chapter 4. And so I have embedded a link to Drive Chapter 5 if you don't want to use perusal. If, for example, you're really struggling using perusal, or your computer's not letting you, or you have to use a device that doesn't let you get into perusal, you can always take notes this way, right? By using PDF to take notes. And here's the link to the chapter in Drive that you need. Okay, if you are going to use perusal, I already have that chapter 5 embedded into the perusal system, and you're able to just read it right there and do your notes and highlights right there in the system. Okay, I am also explaining to you guys here, there's no submission button on this assignment. And that's because we're using an external tool. So the way you're going to submit these reading questions to me is you're going to submit them as a note on perusal. Okay, so let's get into this so you guys can see what it looks like. And for some reason, it's not letting me go in here. Oh, I think I know why. It is because I'm in my test student account. So, okay, let's get out of here. Sorry, it has some weird permissions for me when I use the test student account. So let me just get out of here. We'll leave student view. Okay, now it should let me get in there. So let's try it this way. And I do have a video here that demonstrates how to use perusal. So if you've never used it before, you're feeling a little nervous, please make sure you click on this link and watch this short video that demonstrates how to use perusal. Okay, but I'll give you kind of a basic walkthrough here as well. So we click on the link and it's going to load perusal for us in a new window. Here we go. Okay. So this is our assignment. Let me move my window out of the way here. And you can see I put the instructions and all the reading questions here in the document too, so you know what you're supposed to be doing. All right, and you can see this is the reading right here for you. All right, so it's already put into this system. And then what you start doing is you start annotating, okay? And we have, you're able to highlight and annotate, which is what I'm asking you to do for this assignment, right? I'm asking you to, let's read through that. I'm asking you to find, highlight or underline. We're going to use highlight in this program. Highlight 5 ideas in the text that stand out to you for any reason. They're interesting, you agree, you disagree, you're confused, etc. And make a note of any questions or comments in response to that text. So you highlight and put a note. Why did you highlight that? What did you think about that? Like I said, was it interesting? Did it confuse you? Do you agree? Do you disagree? So we're finding 5 passages that stuck out to you for whatever reason, and you're going to highlight those passages and then explain why it stuck out to you. Okay, so let's try to grab, let's just say this first one right here, this very first. So there we go. There's my highlight, and it shows here. Now here's the note. And I can just put out here, wow, this guy has an interesting last name. Okay, now this is just a test comment. Please don't put comments like that, right? We want to have an actual interesting discussion about the ideas in this text and not something superficial like somebody's name. Okay, I just put that as a way to demonstrate to you guys how to use perusal. Okay, so this is how you leave your comment and your highlight, right? You just highlight, just grab your cursor, highlight whatever section it is you're trying to underline. Oops. and it'll highlight there for you. And then you put your note. Just like we did. Okay, so let's move on. In order to answer those questions, there's another thing that I want you guys doing. Let's close out of our directions here. Okay, so again, you're going to highlight. Here's the quote, right? But the second part of your assignment is to answer those questions, right? So for that, what we're going to do is you're going to leave your answers to those questions in the notes, okay? And it explains to you how to use perusal notes. Just click new. Here's where you answer questions, right? Whatever it is. And then once you've answered those, you can share them with me. Okay, just click on this, and it should populate with my name. Like I said, I'm in the instructor account now, so it's not gonna show it as being able to share with me, but you'll have the ability to be able to share the note with me. Okay. So make sure you share that with me so that I am able to see your answers to the reading questions. Okay, so you're doing both the highlights and commenting and the reading questions right here in perusal, and I'm able to see all of that. Okay, all right, let's get back into our Canvas page. So like I said, that's how we use perusal, and you're using perusal for reading strategy number 4, which is reading Drive Chapter 5, and our next reading, which is called Laziness Does Not Exist by Devin Price. And this is a very similar assignment. So in the last one, you were highlighting and underlining, right? And then explaining, making notations why you found that passage interesting, why you highlighted it. This one, you're choosing 5 passages again, but this one you're looking to make an insight into what do you think the author is trying to say, right? What is the point that the author is trying to make there, right? And that's really what we're looking for in these golden lines. And you also want to explain about them, what makes them golden. So here's what you're doing, right? Looking for 5 passages from the text that seem important to you. Highlight them, just like we did for Drive Chapter 5. And then you're going to make a note along with that highlight explaining why you think that passage is important. So it's a little bit different than what we did with Drive, because in Drive, you were kind of just commenting on, like I said, what you thought about that passage and why it stuck out to you. Like I said, you liked it, you disliked it, you agreed, you disagreed. This one is you really thinking about the author's intentions, right? I want you guys commenting on, why do you think the author is telling us this? Why do you think this is an important point for them to make in this piece of writing? Okay, so you need to find 5 and giving those 5 explanations. And then the same thing, you're going to answer these questions, the reading questions, as a note in perusal. And I've also included a bonus video here of Dr. Devin Price explaining their work, okay? And again, I have the helpful links and the perusal tutorial, and I just showed you guys how to use that. But like I said, if you have any problems accessing perusal, or it's just too complicated or difficult, or it's really stressing you out, like I said, you can always open the PDF of these readings, Drive Chapter 5 and Laziness Doesn't Exist, and use your PDF reader software to highlight and comment, and then just email that to me. You're also able to, if you have a printer, or if you work at a place that has a printer and you can make copies, you can always print out the readings and do it that way, right? Actually highlight and write on the readings, and then just snap pictures and email them to me, okay? So any way that works for you. I would prefer for you guys to use perusal, because like I said, I've uploaded the documents there and you're able to highlight, annotate, and answer those questions right there, and the whole class can interact. But like I said, if the program's a little overwhelming or stresses you out and you'd rather do a different format, you can do that. Okay, so long as you're reading the material and doing the reading strategy, I'm fine if you choose to use perusal or any of the other methods I just discussed. All right. So that's what we're doing with these reading strategies. And like I said, each reading strategy is asking you to use a different note-taking and critical thinking technique. Okay. So for strategy number 6, we're reading an article or a personal essay called How Teachers Make Children Hate Reading by John Holt. And I'm having you guys create questions. Okay, so what you're going to be doing here is creating open-ended questions. So you're going to create 2 questions before you read, right? Or 2 questions that a teacher or that an author might ask the readers to think about before they start reading. As you read, you're going to write 2 open-ended questions that you would ask as you're reading the text. And then after you read, you're going to write those 2 open-ended questions that you could ask after reading a text. And then I have these 2 other reading questions. Okay, and as long as you have those 6 questions and you respond to the after reading questions, you're good to go. And this one you are going to submit up here on Canvas. Okay, and then let's go through to the next one. Our last reading strategy is making connections, and that is reading I Just Want to Be Average by Mike Rose. And what we're doing with this article and this reading is you're going to be using this connection chart. I have it right here, and it'll open up for you in Google Docs. And what you're going to do is when you guys get a Google Doc from me, is you're going to either open it to your own drive or download a version of this as a Word document and complete it there. Okay, you can make a copy. I never give you guys permission to edit my documents because these are my original documents. So please don't email me asking for permission to edit these documents. You don't need permission to edit these documents. You just need to download it or add it to your own drive, right? Here's all the different formats you can download it as, or you can make a copy. It'll copy it to your own Google Drive if you have one, okay? So what we're doing for this reading strategy, as you can see here, we're going to be trying to make connections between I Just Want to Be Average and the other 6 readings that we've looked at in this unit. Okay, so what are some ideas you saw in these other readings that you see come back in I Just Want to Be Average? And we're making that connection. All right, so if we look at that chart, you're going to put like the quote from I Just Want to Be Average and the connection that you're making it to the other reading. So in the description here, I give you guys a hint that you'll definitely see a connection to Fixed and Growth Mindset from Brainology, which is our 3rd reading in this unit. So for this chart, right, you would find that passage that you read that made you think about Fixed and Growth Mindset, and you put the passage here from I Just Want to Be Average, and then here is where you make the connection. I made this connection to Brainology because the students in this story also demonstrate a fixed mindset, right? Something like that. You're just making connections between I Just Want to Be Average and the other concepts that we read about in this unit. Okay, and so then you're going to submit that like we do. And like I said, it'll be up here at the top. If I were to click in Student View, you'll see the submit button. Okay, since I'm in my teacher account, it won't show the submit assignment, but that'll be there when you go in. Okay, so once you're done with this, we have one more page of our reading strategies, and that's a reflection, and that comes up after this. Here it is, reading strategies reflection. So what I'm having you guys do is you're writing a paragraph reflecting on your experiences using these different reading strategies on those 7 readings. And so I want you guys to answer these questions in your paragraph. Which reading strategies did you find particularly helpful? Which did not work so well for you? How did your reading change as a result of using these different strategies? and why are reading strategies important for academic readers. Your paragraph should be about 250 to 300 words and should be written in complete sentences and in MLA format, okay? And you can see the rubric of how I'm grading you right down here. And again, once you're ready to submit your paragraph, your response, you just click on submit, like we did for those other things. And you can, as I already explained, send it to me as a file uploaded from your computer, the text box entry where you just copy and paste or type your response there, or the URL where you're able to copy and paste your link to your Google Docs. But again, please make sure you make the Google Doc visible to all of us. And I'll show you what I mean right here. So let's go back to my connection chart. In order to make a document visible to one of our other folks that you want to see this document, you hit share, okay? And this will change the permissions. And you can see here, right, that I have it set up so that anybody on the internet who has this link can view this document, all right? And so you have to make sure that you have the permission here, that I'm able to see this. You want to make sure it changes to this, that you see anyone who on the internet with this link can view the document. All right, so you can hit change, and there's different permissions here. So anyone with the link means like just what it says. If you have this permission turned on, anybody who you've given that Google Doc link to can open the doc. If you change it to restricted, then you have to add the people that you want to view this document. And it's kind of a pain in the butt. So for class, just click anyone with this link can view. Then you're going to copy the link, all right? Hit done. Let's go back over here. Copy your website URL. Submit assignment. And it'll submit it for you, okay? And then I'm able to click on that link and open your document and grade it for you, okay? So that's how we do the different submission for our reading strategies. So again, I'm doing these reading strategies to give you a toolbox, like I said, that you can use in this class and in any other class that you're taking throughout your college career. You'll have a bunch of different reading strategies, and like I said before, and like this reflection is asking you to do, is to think about which ones work for you, which ones don't work for you, and which ones you would like to start using throughout your college education. Okay, so of course, if you have any questions about any of these reading strategies, feel free to shoot me a text on Remind or send me an email. And don't forget to reach out to our embedded tutors. Also, they can help you with all of our classwork and our assignments as well. Okay, guys, see you soon.